Heroes of Spain take us all over Spain and all over the world because Spanish wines really started to blossom and bloom in the late 1990s when we saw some explosion of interest and developments happening, and some great brands came to the forefront, and some big names got involved, and none bigger than the winemaker I'm talking to right now, who's standing at about 6 o'clock in the morning in Barossa Valley, Australia. This is Chris Ringland, and he is a legend in the world of winemaking, 100 point wines made around the world. And so such an honor to be able to speak with you today.
No, thank you, Ian. It's always good to be able to tell the stories about what we do.
Awesome. Well, I am curious about how did you get involved with making old vine Grenache in Spain?
I've been, well, since I graduated from wine school, University of Adelaide, back in the early 80s, I've been doing various winemaking jobs, and I wound up working in the Barossa Valley in the mid 80s, and wound up for 18 years being the winemaker at Rockford Winery in the Barossa. And during that period, Rockford became an extremely important part of the development of the modern era of Barossa Valley, and in particular Barossa Valley Shiraz. And on the back of the success of Rockford, and also, to my amazement, the fact that the proprietor of the business, my boss, allowed me to make my own little parcel of wine as a little sideline job, and that I named that Three Rivers. And that wine started to develop an international reputation, even though it was only made in tiny amounts, only ever 2 barrels.
Wow.
I was approached in around 2000 by a gentleman named Jorge Adonio, who had established an extremely successful import company into the United States for Spanish wine. And, Spanish wine was really starting to gain a new momentum in the United States in the early 2000s. And Jorge had seen what was going on with my winemaking in the Barossa Valley, and invited me to come over and travel around Spain with him, with a view to establishing some new and exciting winemaking projects. And I was young enough and energetic enough to go, this is a fantastic opportunity, let's get into it. And on the back of this period of evaluating vineyards, meeting with people, I met with Jose Miguel San Martin and the people at Bodegas Bolsayo, and we established a plan to create Bodegas Alto Moncayo.
But home to some amazing vine material. When you got there and you saw these sites, were you looking at like old abandoned vineyard land, or what was happening back then?
It's a very interesting period in the re-evaluation of what Spain can do. Jorge Ordonez was very visionary in realizing this needed to be captured, and new momentum was developing. The vineyards were all in beautiful condition. And you'd understand, mate. We've gone from a period where everybody thought Spain was Rioja, Ribera del Duero, maybe Cava, and Sherry, to all of a sudden the discovery of these other regions of Spain, which were really, during that period, considered outliers, maybe second tier, maybe only known locally. So, of course, climatically, northern Spain and southern Australia have almost identical climate. So from my point of view, arriving there and looking around the beautiful old Garnacha vineyards in the Aragona, Campo de Borja subregion, it struck me as, it was just as simply how do we put it, a no-brainer. This was going to be an extraordinarily exciting prospect, an extraordinary project. And the great thing about it was all based on the vineyards. You can't make great wine for the long term and develop a a style and a reputation without the fundamental foundation being absolutely impeccable. And the thing that I brought to the party was the winemaking approach that I was using in the Barossa Valley and that I'd been taught, which was keep all the vineyards separate, keep all the ferments very small, shallow little open ferments, very gentle handling, very gentle basket pressing, old-fashioned winemaking technique, and then finishing the wine in impeccable new oak barrels. And essentially, my job was to set up. For the first few vintages, we actually made the wine in a little almond packing shed in Bulbuente. They cleared this almond packing shed out, and we just the actual fermenters we were in such under a bit of a time pressure to get this bodega up and happening and get the first wine production happening in the vintage of 2002, that I actually had the fermenters made in the Barossa Valley, packed into shipping containers. And then I was also wanting them to utilize some very good locally made barrels, AP John Cooper. And these barrels are American oak, but the oak is sourced and then seasoned in the Barossa Valley. The barrels are constructed. And so then, of course, we actually worked out to fill the stainless steel fermenters with the barrels and ship them all to Bilbao in one go. And the reason I wanted to use these barrels was because I wanted this project, to have a unique barrel supply that no one else was using in fact, in this stage in the Northern Hemisphere. And it has turned out, of course, extremely effective.
That's amazing. And a good, thread or through line between your project in Australia and your project in Spain. That's pretty cool.
I must admit, mate, I look back at it and go, I was driven, a little bit audacious, and I look back now and go, wow, we all got it, and it worked.
And now, how much wine are you making at Alto Moncayo?
It's not a lot. The actual volume has not changed that much right from inception. More or less, it's somewhere between around 100 and 120 tons of grapes.
Absolutely at the top of the food chain too. These are some of the more highly sought after Grenache wines of in Spain, and you can probably start to say the world, because you've got Grenache really becoming a major variety. The Grenache hunters are out there looking in the Rhone Valley, intensely perfumed, spice tinged black and blue fruits, vanilla, candied flowers, cola on the nose, along with a smoky element that builds with air.
I'm not making any excuses there. For example, if you open a Veraton, please do a bit of planning and give it a good decant, and maybe think about not actually enjoying it with the people you're going to drink it with for a few hours, because it will evolve incredibly. And this is the amazing thing about Garnacha. The selection of these particular grapes going down to individual villages throughout the Campo region means that. And also, I should remind you that, hope I'm not scooting around too much, but Moncayo, and there's a lovely picture of the mountain, of course, behind the bodega in that shot of the bodega. It's a volcano. And so we've got a very strong influence in the high altitude vineyards around Tabuenca of volcanic soils. We've got pink slate, and then we have the medium altitude, and so the vineyards that are in the area actually in the area immediately around the bodega, they're the vineyards of the Borja region itself, and then there are other vineyards located further to the north on the edges of the Ebro River Valley around Pozuelo. Now, these are more limestone influenced and alluvial soils. So with the vineyards in these different subregions that we use to create Bodegas Alto Moncayo, Our job is to create ingredients. Each of those individual vineyards and those individually vinified wines is making a specific contribution to the overall complexity of the assemblage. And it's great to be able to actually, in an interview like this, Ian, to be able to explain to people, the detail that goes in, to creating one of these wines.
Spectacular. I can't thank you enough. You're a great interview, even at 6 in the morning, Chris. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it, Ian. As you can see, the sun's just starting to rise behind me.
Yeah.
Um, here in sunny South Australia, where I hope it's sunny for another few weeks. So,
But
yeah,
have a great vintage, and we'll look forward to reading all about it.
thank you very much, Ian. Great to talk to you.